everyone, it's Christy. Welcome to day 2 of my 2019 Valentine Card Series. Today I'm going to be making a card using Gerda Steiner's Lovely Panda stamp set. And I do not have the dies for this image, so I'm just stamping it directly onto a circle die cut. The ink that I used was MFT's Extreme Black Hybrid ink, and the paper is Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth Premium White, but any alcohol marker friendly cardstock will work. I'm coloring with my Copics today, and I'm starting with C3, C5, and C7. I'm laying in my shadows on the areas that I want to be the black parts of the panda, and I'm also using that C7 to accentuate little pieces like the little paws. I did a little kind of half circle in there to separate the fingers out. Next, I'm grabbing the C5 and blending out that C7, just kind of scrubbing over the edge of that a little bit to pull that darker color into the mid-tone and just really create a nice smooth transition. As I mentioned in the previous video, these cards that I'm making in this series are going to the Cards for Little Hearts drive, which benefit children with congenital heart disease. And I have a lot of the details in that first video, and there are even more details that I'm going to link in the description bar, so please do check that out if you're interested in participating. You have until January 31st to have the cards received, so you actually need to mail them in a couple days before the end of the month. But it is such a great cause, so I hope you guys will consider donating a few cards and just lifting these children's spirits. And you can also get your kids involved or grandkids. Cards from kids are totally acceptable, so please do read all the just the guidelines that are listed on the website before you start creating. So now I'm using my C3, which is going to be the lightest shade of the black areas. And again, I'm just being really careful to go over that transition area and smooth that out and then fill in the rest of those spots. For the rest of the panda, I'm going to be using C0 and C1. I want these parts to look white, but I want there also to be a little bit of dimension and depth so it seems consistent with the rest of the image. So I'm adding just a little bit of a shadow around the outside edges. For the little envelope, I wanted to do that in pink since this is a Valentine card. I wanted to pull in some traditional colors. This one has a little bit more of a peachy tone to it with the R20 and R22, the R22 especially. So I'm just going to accentuate the outside edges and a little bit of shadow under the flap as well with the R22. And then I'm going to pull that color towards the center with the R20. And I did go over that a second time just to intensify the contrast, especially around those edges, and then just soften that up. But I didn't bring the R20 all the way over everything again, so there still is some light areas. Next, I'm going to be using R000 and R00. I'm starting with the R00 on the pads of his feet. At first I thought I would use these two shades on there, but the R00 was light enough that I just colored them in completely. I'm also going to add a little bit of pink to the inside of the panda's ears just by coloring right over the gray. I gave him some rosy cheeks, and then I softened the edges of that with the R000, and I'm going to use the R00 to color in his nose as well. Then I'm going to bring in the R01 to just add a little bit of contrast to the bottom of each of those areas. For his eyes, I'm using G000, G00, and G02. I'm starting at the bottom edge of his eyes and adding a little bit of depth down there, and then I'm also going to add a shadow underneath his body so it maybe looks like he's sitting on some grass. Then I'll use the G00 to bring that color up in his eyes and then to soften up the G02 underneath him. and then I'll finish with the G quadruple 0, and that's really going to help that bottom area fade off into the white. I'll use BG11 and BG13 to color in the heart seal on the envelope, and then I'll set this panel aside while I work on the rest of the card. So I'm not using a Valentine themed pattern paper pack today. I'm actually using a baby girl themed pack, but that's totally fine. If you don't have any Valentine paper, just look through your stash for something with some pinks or some reds, aquas, different colors that kind of seem to scream Valentine's Day. So right now I'm choosing my patterns, and I have my base print, which is that really pretty pink plaid. And then I'm choosing a couple other prints that are going to tie in. So I've got that aqua stripe that's a tone on tone that's practically a neutral. And then I've got that soft floral and then a tiny mint star. So all four of these you can see really complement each other and the patterns don't compete. I've trimmed down the pink plaid and I'm actually going to be stamping my sentiment directly onto this piece today. Normally I wouldn't stamp my sentiment onto the pattern paper unless it was a big bold sentiment like this and the pattern was light enough that it will really stand out and be legible. Then on the inside of the card I'm also going to stamp another image and a sentiment with Lawn Fawn's bubblegum ink. Now someone did raise the question about the fact that the inside of the cards are supposed to be left blank. But to me, this is still a blank card. For me, if you don't have a message written inside, I still think that's a blank card. But I will double check on that, see if I can get a hold of the lady who is running this card drive and see if she can verify if stamping on the inside is okay. If you're nervous about it, you may want to just hold off until later. So I'm going to add my pattern papers now. I've got the pink plaid over on the right side, and then the aqua or mint stripe is over on the left. And I'm just making sure that those fit flush together and they're nice and straight on the edges of the card. Then I have two flag banners that I cut down with the other two prints, and I just held them in place with a little piece of post-it tape and ran that through my Cuttlebug with the same die that I used on the outside of the other prints, which is the Lawn Fawn Stitch Rectangle Stackables, so it has that nice stitching detail. And then once that glue is dried, I can go ahead and peel off the post-it tape. And I'll also peel off the release papers on the foam tape of my focal panel. And then I can line that up right where I want it and press that down into place on the card. To finish things up, I'm taking a tiny little heart stamp from a Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I'm stamping that down in Lawn Fawn's bubblegum ink. Just doing a little trio of hearts over on the right hand side of the focal panel. Then I'll grab my Spectrum Noir Clear Glitter Overlay pen, and I'm going to add some sparkle and shine to the little heart trio and also the heart seal on the envelope. And then I also decided to add it to the panda's eyes. And that is going to complete our card for today. I'll lift that up so you can hopefully catch all that shimmer from that sparkle pen, and I'll give you another peek at the inside. So I hope you guys have enjoyed day 2 of my 2019 Valentine Card Series. If you did, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also hit that notification bell if you want to be sure that my videos always end up in your feed. Here's 2 extra videos from day 2 of the previous 2 years of Valentine Card Series, so if you'd like more inspiration, you can keep on watching. Again, thank you guys so much. I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye.